Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solutions. I am Preeti Rajani working here as functional consultant. So let's start with prepayments today. So what is prepayment invoice? A prepayment invoice is a type of invoice you enter to pay an advance payment to a supplier. A prepayment is a payment you make to supplier in anticipation of the provision of goods or services. In Oracle Fusion Payables, a prepayment is a type of invoice that you can apply to an outstanding invoice to reduce the invoice amount. You must fully pay a prepayment invoice before you can apply to it. There are two types of prepayment invoice. First is prepayment permanent invoice. Permanent prepayment invoice cannot be adjusted from any standard invoice, whereas temporary prepayment invoice can be used to adjust from standard invoice. There are following steps that you have to follow in Oracle Fusion application while creating prepayment invoice. You have to set prepayment options in invoice options. Then you have to create a prepayment invoice. Then you have to process payment for that prepayment invoice. Then you have to create a standard invoice, and then you have to apply prepayment invoice against that standard invoice that you have created. There are important notes before creating prepayment invoice. To apply the prepayment to an invoice, the invoice must have the same invoice currency as the invoice currency of the prepayment. For example, say you have created invoice currency as USD and you have to make payment currency is CAD. Then you have created a prepayment invoice in USD and you have to make payment in RUB. Here you can see that the invoice currency and the prepayment currency is USD. So you can apply the prepayment to this invoice. You must fully pay a prepayment before you can apply to standard invoice. If a prepayment is mistakenly applied to an invoice, you can unapply the prepayment. The prepayment is then available for application to any other standard invoice. Now we will move to our application to see how to create prepayment invoice. Go to setup and maintenance. Now go to task list. Click on manage implementation project. Select the project on which you are working. Here in the task search option, you have to search manage invoice options. Click on this task. Now click on go to task option. Here go to prepayment field. You have to select payment term as immediate. It is already selected here. Here it is asking for settlement days. It means the period you mentioned here, say 5 days, then after 5 days you can apply this prepayment invoice amount against any standard invoice. You can see here use distribution from purchase order. If you want to match this prepayment invoice against any purchase order, then you can enable this task. Then second option is show available payments during invoice entry. If you will enable this checkbox, then at the time of creating standard invoice, it will show to you that prepayments are available against this supplier. Now click on save and close. Now we will create prepayment invoice. Click on done. Go to navigator. Now go to payables. Click on invoices tab. Go to task list. Click on create invoice. While creating prepayment invoice, you have to select the type as prepayment. Give the supplier detail here. Give the invoice number here. Here you have to give the type as prepayment invoice. Now click on show more. You can see this checkbox. If you enable this checkbox, it means that it indicates that this prepayment is temporary and can be applied to any standard invoice. And if you don't enable this checkbox, then system will treat this prepayment as permanent prepayment. It means it will not allow you to adjust the amount of this prepayment invoice to adjust against any standard invoice. Now go to lines. You can see that the distribution field is disabled. You cannot make any changes because automatically the system is taking distribution as prepayment. See, you can see here in the accounts, it is automatically taking as prepayment. Click on OK. Go to invoice action. Here you have to select pay in full here. Then only you can use this prepayment invoice against any standard invoice. Now it will ask for your bank details. Click on validate first. Then only you can pay it. Now click on pay in full. Select the bank account here from which you need to pay this amount. Now click on submit. You can read this message, payment 3939 for 1095 USD has been created. That means our prepayment invoice has been created. Now we can use this amount against any standard invoice. Click on OK. Now click on save and close. Now we will create a standard invoice. Click on create invoice. Give the supplier detail here. Expand the lines. Give the amount here. Go to invoice action. From here, you have to validate this invoice. You can see the bell icon here. Now it is showing the prepayments available for this supplier. Here you can see available prepayments amount 1000. Now we will go to this invoice action and will apply or unapply prepayments. Here you can see the prepayment invoice that we have created is shown here. We will select it and we will click on apply. It is applied against this standard invoice. Now click on done. Now click on validate. You can see the status here. It is changed to validated. Now we will see whether there is any amount that is pending. So click on manage installment. You can see here the unpaid amount is 0 because we have adjusted the prepayment invoice against this standard invoice. Now click on save and close. Again click on save and close. You can see here the status of this standard invoice that we have created and we adjusted the prepayment invoice against it. The paid status is fully paid. This is how we can create prepayment invoice in Oracle Fusion application. Now we will see the payable security in Oracle Fusion application. Let's move to our slide. Payable security in Oracle Fusion table secures access to payables and invoices for business unit. Oracle Fusion Payables improves security by limiting access to invoices and payments by business unit. You can access invoices and payments for viewing or processing only for the business units to which you have permission. The permission must be explicitly granted to each user. Say we have two users, user A, we want to give A the access to view the invoices and payables. That means A cannot make any changes to invoices. He can only view the invoices. And there's a user B. We want to give the access to view and also to make changes to invoice and payables. We can restrict the user to view or to make changes. Therefore, we use payable security in Oracle Fusion application. This assigns user to the appropriate security context such as a business unit for job roles from the manage data access for user page. Oracle Payable is integrated to the document repository for processing scan invoices to enhance security. Edit access to the document repository is granted to the following predefined roles. There are following roles you can see here: accounts payable manager, accounts payable specialist, accounts payable supervisor, account payable invoice supervisor. Keeping up with the security requirements, the following predefined roles have view-only access to the document repository. A user who have these three roles can only view the invoices. He cannot make any changes to it. These are the predefined roles, that is a financial application administrator, cost accountant, project accountant. Now we will see in the application how to give this payable security to users. Let's move to our application. Go to navigator. I will create one user and I will give these roles to that user. Go to Tools, click on Security Console. Click on User tab. Click on Add User Account. Give the name of the user. Now click on Add Role. I'm giving the roles that we have seen in the PPT. Account Payable Manager. Click on Add Role Membership. Don't select the copy role. Always select ORA, original role. Again, click on Add Role Membership. Account Payable Supervisor. Account Invoice Supervisor. Click on Add Role Membership. Now click on Done. So in this way, we created a user and we assign Jack 85 these predefined roles. Now click on Save and Close. Now go to our project. Click on Setup and Maintenance. Go to Task List. Click on Manage Implementation Project. Select the project on which you are working. Here search the task Manage Data Access for User. From this task, you can give the access to the user. Click on Go to Task option. Click on Create icon. Give the username to whom you have to give the access. Click on Search. Select your user. Select and click on OK. Now it is asking for a role. For which role you want to enable the security. See the roles you can see here that we have assigned while creating this user. Click on it. It is asking for security context. So what is security context? This is the level at which you want to enforce the security. So these are the levels. I am selecting it as business unit. I want to enforce the security at business unit level. Now it is asking for security context value. Now it is asking for which business unit you want to enforce the security. So I have to select my business unit here. I'm taking it as Australia business unit. Again, click on add. Again, select your user. Select the second role. Security context here. First, we have defined the roles while creating user. Now we are giving access to this user. So whatever the functions and access is available under these roles can be accessed by this user Jack85. This is how we gave access to this user for these predefined roles. Now click on save and close. This is how we can apply the payable security in payables and Oracle Fusion application. Now click on done. Now we will see document sequencing in Oracle Fusion application. Go to our PPT. So what is document sequencing in payables? Document sequences are unique numbers that are automatically or manually assigned to a created and saved document. You can sequence invoices and payments by assigning them voucher numbers. You can generate audit trail as identify missing transaction or deletion of some entries. There are three types of sequencing available in Payables and Oracle Fusion application. First is automatic. Here in the automatic document sequencing, it uniquely numbering is sequential by date and time of creation. System automatically generate this automatic sequencing number. In the manual document sequencing, it requires a user to assign a number to each document before it is generated. Then it is gapless. It ensures that no sequence number allowed to incomplete or failed document. To set up sequencing, you have to perform following tasks, that is specify ledger options, manage payables document sequences, and the last two options are optional. Now we will see how to perform the mandatory task in Oracle Fusion application. So move to our application. Select our project. Search the task, specify ledger option. Click on the task. Now click on Go to Task. Go to Sequencing field. Here you can see the sequencing field. Here it is asking sequencing by. When you click on no sequencing, that means you don't require any sequencing in the payables. You can see here the enforced document sequencing and enforced chronological order on document accounting date got deactivated. But when you will click on ledger, you will see that enforced document sequencing will get activated. You can click on these checkbox. When you click on checkbox payable, it indicates that payable document require voucher number. But when you don't click on this checkbox, it means you don't require voucher number or sequencing. Now click on legal entity. Now you will see that both the fields will get activated. Now we will see in our PPT what is the use of enabling this checkbox. So move to our PPT again. This table describes how the combination of ledger options setting affects the assignment of voucher numbers to invoice and payments. When sequencing by is ledger and you enable the enforced document sequencing for payable is no, and in chronological order on document is also no, you can see that voucher number assignment on invoices and payments is optional. When you will click on yes, that means if you are enabling this checkbox, the voucher number or sequencing will be required. Again, when legal entity, when you are not enabling the checkbox of payable there, it will be optional. And in the legal entity, if you are enabling the checkbox as yes, then it is required. And when it comes to no sequencing, then optional for imported invoices only. Now we will see in the application how to create sequencing. Click on save and close. Here you have to search the task manage payables document sequence. Click on this task. Click on go to task option. From here we can create payable document sequence. So click on create icon. Now it is asking for document sequence name. Here you have to give the name. I'm taking it as payable sequence invoice. It is asking for application for which you have to apply. I'm selecting it as payables. Now it is asking for module. Again, I'm here selecting it as payable. Now it is asking for type. The type that we have discussed in PPT, automatic, manual, gapless. I'm selecting it as automatic. At which level you want to apply this sequence? I'm taking it as ledger. We have two other options, that is business unit and ledger legal entity. You have to give the start date and end date. I'm taking it as 1st January 2022 to 31st March 2022. Now you will see here we will get that the sequence we have created. You can see here. payable sequence invoice. Now click on create icon. Now it is asking document sequence category name. What it is? It is a set of documents that share similar characteristics and that to form in a logical group. Click on search. Again click on search. I am taking it as accrual. Click on OK. Now it is asking method. I am selecting it as automatic. Again you have to give start date and end date. I am taking same dates. Now it will ask for primary ledger. Because I have selected ledger here, so it is asking for primary ledger. I am taking it as Australia primary ledger. Now click on save and close. This is how we created document sequencing. Now it will automatically take a sequence for every invoice and document in Oracle Fusion application. Click on done. Now we will see how to put invoice hold and release. Move to our PPT. So what is invoice hold and release? Invoices hold means to assign hold on any invoice so that payment of that particular invoice can't be done. Invoice release means to release the hold from any invoice. After releasing the hold, payment can be made. Use the manage invoice holds and release page to define holds and release for invoices. You can assign the holds that you define to invoices, and the invoices can't be paid until you release those holds. There are two type of holds, that is system holds and manual holds. So what is system hold? Hold is put by system due to some error or mistake done at the time of invoice creation. Whereas manual hold is a user manually puts the hold on invoice. Like if you don't have sufficient funds, then you can put a hold on that particular invoice. That will not allow you to make payment until you put a release on that hold. User can put a hold on invoice at three different levels. First is at invoice level, second is business unit level, third is supplier level. So if you want to put the hold at invoice level, you have to follow manage invoice hold and release on the taskbar. And if you want to hold the invoice at business unit level, you have to go to hold unmatched invoice at business unit level. And if you want to put a hold at supplier level, then you have to go to supplier site to make changes. Application to see practically how to put hold on invoice. First, we will see how system shows hold. So we will create an invoice and purposely we will make a mistake so that system automatically holds the invoice. Click on navigator, go to payables and click on invoices. Go to task, click on create invoice. Your supplier detail here. Select the type as standard invoice. Now go to lines. I'm giving the line amount as 900. And distribution set as telephone expenses. Now I will go to invoice actions and will try to validate this invoice. See what is the result of it. Click on validate. Because I have given the different amount in line and in invoice header, it won't allow me to validate this invoice. Click on continue. Not validated. Now we will see what is the reason. See the status needs revalidation. Now we will see the reason. Click on it. You can see the line variance and system holds. Click on it. We only made a mistake while creating the standard invoice and system automatically put the hold on this invoice. You can see the reason line variance. Total of invoice lines does not equal invoice amount. Click on save and close. This is how automatically system can put a hold on your invoice. Click on cancel. Now we will see how to put a hold manually on invoice levels. So go to setup and maintenance. Go to task list. Click on manage implementation project. Again select the project. Search manage invoice hold and release. Click on this task. Click on go to task option. You can see the already created holds and release. Now we will click on create icon to create new hold. So it is asking for type. I'm selecting it as invoice hold reason. It is asking for name. I'm taking it as DL no funds. Then is mandatory. Click on allow accounting and allow manual release. That means if we are enabling this checkbox, that means it will allow us to create a accounting for this invoice. And also if we want to manually release the hold, we can do that by enabling this checkbox. Now click on save and close. Again click on create icon. Now we'll create invoice release reason. I'm giving the name as DL funds available. I'm giving description as release the hold if funds are available. Now click on save and close. Now we will see while creating invoice how this manual hold and release works. Click on done here. Again go to navigator. Go to payables. Click on invoice tab. Click on create invoice. Expand the lines. Now go to invoice action for putting a manual hold. Click on manage hold. Click on create. You can see the hold that we have created here is showing here. So click on DL no funds. The reason we gave there, we can see here, put a hold if there are no funds. In this way, I am putting hold manually on this invoice. So click on save and close. Now click on validate. It will not allow us to validate this invoice because we have put the hold manually. Now we will see what is the reason it is not allowing us to validate this invoice. You can see here manual hold. Click on save and close. Now we want to release this hold. Go to invoice action again, or you can directly go there by needs revalidation. Click on manage hold. Here you can release the hold manually. See the release that we have created there. So this is the reason we are releasing this hold now. Click on save and close. Now you can see that the status has changed to validated because we released that hold. This is how we can create hold and release on invoice level. So click on save and close now. Now we will see How to put a hold on invoice on business unit level? What are the setups for that? For applying hold on business unit level, we have to do the setups with the task manage invoice options. And for creating a hold at supplier level, we have to go to supplier, that is in navigator. Through navigator, we have to go to procurement, and from procurement, we have to select supplier. And the supplier side, we can make those changes. Now go to setup and maintenance. Go to our project. Click on manage implementation project. Select the project on which you are working. Search here manage invoice option. Select the task. Click on it. Click on go to task option. Here you can see we can enable this checkbox, that is hold unmatched invoices. When you enable this checkbox, all the invoices will be held by system if it is unmatched with purchase orders. This is how we can create a hold on business unit level. So right now it is not required, so no, I'm not enabling it. But if you want to enable this checkbox, you can enable it from here. Now click on save and close. Now we will see how to put hold at supplier level. Click on done. Again click on done. Go to navigator. Click on procurement field. Click on suppliers now. Click on task list. Click on manage supplier. Search your supplier here. Click on edit icon. In the site option, you can enable the hold in supplier. While creating the supplier also, you can put the hold on the supplier level. I already have a supplier, so I'm going there by editing it. So go to sites, click on edit icon, go to payment tab, click on this, go to invoicing tab. From here, you can create or put a hold at supplier level. Hold all invoices, no or yes. When to put a hold, hold unmatched invoices. Yes, no, default from payable options. Hold unvalidated invoices. Safe in case any of the invoices which are unvalidated related to Dell Inc. supplier will be hold if you enable this option. So if you want to put any hold on invoices at supplier level, you can simply do that from these fields. So right now for my project, it is not required, so I'm not enabling it for, but it is, if it is your requirement, then you can enable it from here. Click on save and close. Click on submit. Click on done. So these were the topics of accounts payable in Oracle Fusion application that we have covered today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any query, reach out to us at www.bispsolutions.com. Thank you.